opinion, your point of view. This is Prime News.
Hi everyone, I'm Mike Alanos. This is Prime News. Well, parents living in that mobile home park where Sandra Cantu was kidnapped have more reason now to be terrified today. A woman accused of killing the 8-year-old, stuffing her body in a suitcase, then throwing it into a pond. It's also accused of raping little Sandra. Melissa Huckabee, again, a Sunday school teacher, of all things. Her 5-year-old daughter was friends with little Sandra, and now many of you chiming in and wondering, did mom abuse her? Were kids at the church harmed in any way? That's exactly what police in Tracy, California are looking into. Let's give it a listen.
What we're asking is for the public if they have any indication that any of their children may have had inappropriate contact with Miss Huckabee to contact us.
All right, joining me now to talk about this, Steve Cardian, former police detective. We'll hit Steve the questions on this, the investigative side of things. Also with us, Dr. Jeff Gardier, clinical psychologist. It's still so baffling. And Jeff, I'm going to start with you because that's where people, sure, the first place they still want to go with this is how could a mom do this? How could the mother of a 5-year-old do this? And one thing I think as we start to look into the possibility that her 5-year-old daughter was possibly abused or other kids at the church, Jeff, the hard question to ask is, it just doesn't, odds are, and I hate to say this, it's not the first time she's abused a kid. Can we say that? Again, she's innocent until proven guilty, but as we look at this, don't statistics back that up?
Well, what we have to look at, Mike, is that this may not be the first time. These things don't just happen in a vacuum. Chances are she didn't just pick Sandra Cantu to do this to. There may have been a pattern before. She had gotten away with it, and evidently had gotten away with it for so long, if and in fact it had happened. But there might have been some sort of an accident we're hearing as far as what happened with Sandra Cantu. That being said, this is a very destructive woman who had access to many children in Sunday school, and also being a mom that she knew other little girls that her daughter may have known.
Yeah, so frightening there. It was said she had access. Well, again, Jeff, you just mentioned accident. There are different reports out there that CNN has not independently confirmed, so we're still waiting on that information. Jeff, let's hit on that, pick up on that again, just to clarify for everybody. When you talk about crimes like this, they build, don't they, normally?
Yeah.
Where it would start with abuse and end in murder.
Well, what we've seen in some of these cases, first of all, this woman, Huckabee, if she's done this, wouldn't fit the profile in that many women, and there aren't, by the way, I should say, the odds are that women just don't commit these sorts of crimes as far as murder related to sex. Many of these women abuse their own children or relatives, so that's where she doesn't fit the profile. Secondly, this resulting in some sort of a killing or murder, again, that does not fit the profile. But what we do know is that there usually is a history of abuse. Usually the abuser has been abused themselves in childhood, and then they carry out that inappropriate behavior so that they're not victims later on in life.
Gotcha.
But I think we may find that there are other despicable acts that may have been committed if, in fact, she is guilty.
Steve, let's get you in on this. Steve, are investigators, are they looking into that? Or right now, is it all about, hey, what children were in contact with Melissa Huckabee and to try and find out if there was any abuse involved?
Yeah, Mike, it's the only responsible thing for them to do is to look into that history. And in my 30 years in law enforcement, the people that I've dealt with, that I've arrested or done investigations on, their first contact with law enforcement is usually not their first event.
Steve, so what do you, as an investigator, are you going to every family that had a child in her care in Sunday school?
Well, you're going to reach out first. It's going to go in stages. They're going to reach out and look for volunteers, and then it's quite possible that they may go door to door and just pose the question to the parents, have there been any odd behavior, right. You know, check with the medical records with their doctors and so on and so forth.
Gotcha.
They'll also be in the schools, checking with the schools to see if in fact there has been any child that has made some sort of a complaint or even implied that something improper has happened, which they're obliged by law to report to law enforcement anyway.
Right. By the way, we're taking your calls on this if you want to. If you comment or question, 1-877-TEL-HLN is the number. Let's bring in Jennifer Wadsworth, rejoining us. Jennifer, reporter for the Tracy Press, has been on this since day one. Jennifer, why are police putting this out there in the first place? Do they have evidence as someone stepped forward of a past abuse at the hands of Melissa Huckabee?
You know what? Public records don't show that she had any
again, just to reiterate, Melissa had access to a lot of kids. Are there any allegations, Jennifer, let's be clear on this, any allegations of past abuse in church or elsewhere?
Well, there is someone who lives in the same mobile home park who claims that Melissa took her kid and drugged her kid, and that's one of the many rumors that's going around. But I have reason to believe that it has some basis in truth. So, you know, some people have come forward and said things like that.
Okay. What about her own 5-year-old daughter? Who has her right now, Jennifer?
Her family has her right now, and I haven't heard that her daughter was ever abused. I do know that she's sickly. I know she was born prematurely, and she has problems with asthma, allergies, and ear infections. So she's a frail girl. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about her being abused, though.
Okay. Guys, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, more of your comments, questions on this tragedy involving 8-year-old Sandra Cantu as we search for the answers. Call in 1-877-TEL-HLN.